BD5 Pilot with you out at the Hillsboro hangar on 4-3-2-1. How often does that happen? April 3rd, it's a Saturday, day before Easter, and I've got some good work done on the plane now. Remember those bridle brackets were giving me trouble. These clamps weren't quite the correct size for the cable they were going around. They was allowing some slippage. So actually a A&P friend of mine, Mike Beckett, said, hey, why don't you take those brackets and just sand them a little bit. So I did. I sanded the side that has the oversized groove for the cable down to it be a little bit smaller, and then sanded the other side so it match. And now, voila, it no longer slips. You'll notice I've got my fuel line and the tools that I use for bending and putting the little end on it. And so the other project I did was a gascolator is now installed, along with the lines that take it from those the fuel cutoff valves. And so now all that's going to be left is putting the fuel flow transducer, which will probably go right there on that engine bulkhead. And then I'll be figuring out how I'm going to feed the carburetors once that goes in there. So the little taped over line is going to come up and drop into that transducer. But let's take a look at the look at this thing not slipping now since it works. So we've got the avionics on. I've got the autopilot screen brought up on the G3X, and we've got it set right now for the pitch and roll like I've done in the past, and you've witnessed it working. We're going to take and kick in the autopilot. We'll hear the click, but nothing's really happening yet until I'll drop in that heading like I've done in the past. Now we're going to watch. I'm going to try to get it to where I can see the stick and see the wing. And we can watch that move. Then we'll bring that heading back the other way and see if we can watch it again. There it goes. See it moving. But the thing you haven't witnessed before is if I can get this vertical speed to work. I'm going to set this to go nose down, and there goes the movement of the stabilator. And look at that right there. We don't have slippage on those autopilot pieces. And notice what the screen shows. Tells me to trim down so I can take the pressure off of that. Isn't that a cool feature? Since this is going to be manual trim, now we're going to go pitch up, and we'll watch that move the other way, and once again come up against the end and not slip, which I'm pretty happy about it not slipping. And now it's going to tell me to trim up. Notice how the G5 also tells me to trim up, because through the CAN bus that's tied in to this whole system. So it all communicates. All right, we'll turn that autopilot off, the flight director off. And so I actually think the next thing I'm going to make is a little cover for that, since I don't need to get in there anymore. And since that is such thin aluminum, it's so easy. You notice I put the tape around there because it's so easy to cut yourself on that. I already massacred my hand when I was doing the install. And there's the completed cover. So now the interior looks a little more finished. And we can start focusing on other things I need to work on. I didn't work on exactly what I thought I would. I thought I'd build that rudder, but we had other tasks at hand that needed to get done, and I'm happy with the work. I'm happy the autopilot works. Oh, that's a relief. And we'll get on with more work on the plane and letting you know how it's going. Hit that like button. I really appreciate my fans and all your comments. Oh, someone asked me a question. Dan Olson wanted to know about the actuators used for the autopilot. Now, these are the GSA 28 Garmin autopilot servos. These get used for experimental aircraft and are the ones you set up with the G3X. You can see my power is actually on, so we can operate these again if I can set this up to view it. But I use the rod that comes with the installation kit that you have to cut down and then drill and tap for the aileron, since that's a pushrod type of control, Whereas on the elevator, it is an elevator cable, so I had to buy the capstan kit. And I think there's an earlier video where I showed constructing these, but see how well that shows that back in there. There's that capstan that wraps around, and then that cable has a little swaged on piece that holds it in place. And then I had to make these bridle clamps that gave me a little bit of trouble, but now they seem to be working. Let's go see if I can set the tripod up to show them in operation. All right, I set the tripod on with a little light. It's the first time I get to see it operate this way as well. And we'll get in that autopilot like I've set up before. We're in the roll pitch setting. We've kicked in the autopilot itself. You heard them actuate. We're going to hit heading mode, and I'm going to take and put it into a right turn. And you should watch the control move. And then we'll put it into a left turn. We should watch it move again. And then we'll bring it back and center it. And then we'll hit vertical speed. Want to nose down. We should watch that capstan. Move that assembly. And then let's bring it to nose up. We'll level things back out and kick everything off. And hopefully that lets you see how it operates. Now without the autopilot, if I just move the stick around, you see I've got the free ability to move all quadrants. And it moves a little faster than the autopilot, but that autopilot's going to come in handy one of these days. So thanks, Dan. And with that, I'm going to call it a day. So BD5 Pilot's out for now. Y'all have a great weekend, and happy Easter, everyone.